everybody. Welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld, and finally we get the government reopening, the government getting back to work, finally an agreement. At least that little bit of drama is behind us, or at least we would think. Unfortunately, we are going to see some serious delays, if not non-release of data reports, which we'll talk about here on our Monday Morning Must Knows. Let's start things off with the earnings calendar. Super light. Only 281 companies reporting this week, although there are some big names in here, one in particular, which we'll get to on Wednesday. Monday, you've got absolutely nothing. At least there's nobody of significance for our purposes. On Tuesday, we've got Home Depot, Pinduoduo, BHP, Medtronic, and Baidu. Wednesday is really when all the fireworks happen. This is the most anticipated earnings of the season. Is going to be Nvidia, of course, the fulcrum of everything that is AI. You have Nvidia on Wednesday after market close. You also have TJ Maxx, Palo Alto Networks, Lowe's, Target, and Neo. Keep in mind, there are a lot of retailers reporting this week, and of course, retail sales numbers may be coming out as well. We just don't know. Moving on to Thursday, you've got Walmart, Intuit, John Deere, and Ross Stores. And finally, on Friday, brings you Alibaba, your second of the Chinese retailers. And that is pretty much it for the earnings calendar. I say pretty much it because, of course, Wednesday's Nvidia announcement is absolutely massive. Thursday's trading session will be wild. And why? Because Nvidia is the fulcrum of everything that is AI. And there are many people, including myself, that feel that the bubble is going to start to deflate here. Not pop, but deflate a little bit as some of these expectations of AI and its capabilities may have gotten a little bit long in the tooth. Now let's move on to other things. Let's shift our focus to Jerome Powell. As we know, December 10th is the next FOMC meeting, and everybody's watching that one. Unfortunately, the Fed doesn't have a lot of data to go on, right? We're not seeing data being released. The White House has already said some of the CPI numbers, some of the employment data will never be released. Okay, well that's kind of like driving without an instrument pen on your dashboard. We lose our guidance system. So what is going to be interesting is what Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve say about interest rates and inflation. Right now, a majority of them are supporting a rate cut. However, we're starting to see that shift. Remember, Collins was very vocal about saying, no, I do not want to cut rates at all. I'm going to hold right where I'm at. And that may be shifting. So the FOMC meeting minutes will give us a little clue as to what these voting members of the FOMC were thinking. That's going to happen Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's 2 hours before the equity markets close. So I would expect some good volatility right around that time. Now, what's some data that is coming out? That's going to be the services and manufacturing numbers for around the world. Yes, we've got multiple pieces here. France is going to be on Friday at 3:15 a.m. Eastern time. They kick things off, followed up by Germany at 3:30, followed up by the EU at 4 a.m., and then we get to England at 4:30 a.m. Finally, the United States at 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. Now, why is this important? It's important because, of course, we have the whole tariff wars going on, and some of those have been settled, some are still contentious, some are still up in the air. We just don't have it completely figured out yet with regards to tariffs and imports, exports. Services and manufacturing will give us clues as to how each of these respective economies are functioning under this pressure of tariffs and just kind of global tension, and see which one might be the victor and which one might be losing out. Now, the overwhelming cloud here is going to be data. Right now, as I mentioned earlier, we're not going to see a lot of releases that we anticipate as traders, that we use for market direction and to gauge sentiment as to where markets may be going. One that is very important is going to be the unemployment numbers, which of course Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve will probably say something about in the FOMC minutes on Wednesday. Going forward, we will get a release in December, that first Friday in December, we will get a release of the unemployment rate and other jobs data, but we're missing November, and a lot of people are skeptical about that, a little bit nervous, which is why we saw such tremendous sell-offs in the equity markets last week, kind of driving blind without that data. So for all of this week entails some decent earnings, Nvidia really stealing the show for the week. You've got the FOMC meeting minutes on Wednesday, and on Friday, a lot of services and manufacturing data. That, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must Knows. We will see you next week.